Good morning. Are y'all here? You little entrepreneurs. I signed on early this morning. There was somebody on here at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, what in the world? I don't know if it was a scammer or if it was like a real person. I wasn't sure. Oh, Amy's there too. Yay. Oh, Cheryl, it was you. Girl, you're a little entrepreneur this morning. So you are a real person. What brought you here so early? Good morning, Jane. Oh my gosh, I would love to have a girl spend the night party. I have to tell y'all something. So this morning, it's like cold outside, but not I don't want a jacket, but it's not hot enough for short sleeves. So I just did this and I put this on this morning. I put it on this morning and I thought I had it right? And then all the set, like there's my buttons. And then I was like, wait a minute, what is this? Wait, I'm backwards. Wait a minute, I'm backwards. I was like, what is this? Do I have my shirt on inside out? So then I changed my shirt and then I was like, wait a minute, the buttons are here. And then I was like, what is the deal with this shirt? But I guess this is extras. I was like, normally they just like put it in a little baggy thing but it's like on the inside. So I got super confused this morning. Crazy Lazy Goat Farm. I still want you to take my pictures. So you need to message me, but I know that you're busy, but I do want to get my picture made. Look. It's serious when I have 2 protein shakes. Oh my goodness. Rhett, you ain't getting Leroy. Little booger. Shane said, when are we going to their farm? I said, I don't know. They've never invited. So we have to come to your farm soon. Okay, we have 1 minute left. And then I'm hot and I don't want to take this shirt off. Hey, you know what I found out? I was in here playing with the settings and there was this little button that could filter and make me pretty. Look, do y'all see it? Do I look different? Did it cover my wrinkles? But I thought, shoot, I'll use that filter and make me feel better. So, I didn't even know there was a filter on here. I know he wants Leroy. Rhett wants Leroy. It's an illusion, Zoe. There's a filter to make you look beautiful on StreamYard. I know. Do y'all see a difference? I feel like my skin looks smoother. Like, I don't know. Chris, you're a boy. Y'all are so funny. Y'all are so sweet. Y'all just trying to give me a big head. Hey, Julie. Love you. Thanks for the likes. And I've said this before, but basically, you know how sometimes people go, hit that thumbs up, hit likes. Okay, what happens is when you like our post or comment, it makes Facebook or YouTube show our video more. So that's why people say that. We don't technically get paid for when people like our videos, but it helps Facebook filter and show our videos more when there's more likes. So thank you for the likes. Thank you, Diane. Oh no, Stephanie, I have not mailed your book. Oh my God. Kayla, will you please send me a reminder? I'm brain dead these days and can't remember nothing. Stephanie, don't be mad at me for not mailing your book. I promise you I'm going to mail it. And it won't be today because today today is the day my dad goes to the doctor to find out the treatment. And so he's been on the internet nonstop reading and I have too, I'm not going to lie. And it said, people his age, they don't generally do surgery at his age. My dad is 75. And so, he's read about some kind of, oh, I'm sorry. I see Sue. These animals, my kitty cats are loving those wool blankets or whatever they are. So thank you. So if you get more of those blankets, you can bring them to me in April because these animals, I'm fixed to go give them to the big pigs too. But the baby pigs are loving these blankets and my kitty cats are loving these blankets. So thank you, Sue. So he's read that there's hormone therapy to treat, I don't know, he's nervous big time. And so I asked him if he wanted to go. Normally he doesn't eat the day of a doctor's appointment because his anxiety kicks in high gear. So the appointment is not till 3:30. So basically, I said, why don't we go eat breakfast this morning? Because I knew he wasn't going to eat all day. So he said he would. So I'm hoping he'll go eat breakfast this morning and at least get something in his stomach before we go to this doctor's appointment. Otherwise, he's going to be stressed and make himself sick. Okay, let's see. First of all, let's talk about this weekend. All right, before we get started, I am on fire. I'm taking my Meemaw glasses off, so it's hard for me to read the comments. I wished I could wear contacts, but my doctor cannot find a contact that fits my eye because I have, what's it called? Stigmatism. I have a stigmatism in my eye. And unfortunately, my eyeball is shaped like a football instead of round, and none of the contacts fit my eyes. And then the contacts that they found fit my eyes, I'm blind in one eye. I have amblyopia. I was born with it. And so I only wear one contact when I try them on. But what happens is they correct my distance, but I can't see nothing up front, which so means I have to wear glasses. So I can't read my phone. I can't do nothing. Well, then I said, can't you fix it where I can read? He goes, Judy, if I fix it where you can read, you're not going to be able to see distance. I go, well, I guess I'm not wearing contacts because that's not going to work. So I have to wear glasses. I have to wear glasses. Okay. All right. So this weekend, I felt so honored that you followers would step up to the plate and help me at that fair. There was five people that came and helped me and volunteered and helped me at that fair, and it meant the world to me. It really meant the world to me. We really had a good time. The good thing is the kids were able to play at the fair while mom worked and helped me. And at first we weren't that busy, and then we started getting busy, and it was just wonderful because each person had a little routine where somebody stayed at the front, someone helped with the animals, and it was just really nice. So the people that came to the fair, thank you. Okay, I wanted to say that. All right. So a lot has happened. I talked a little bit about it on my live because I went live to tell you guys that I have got so many scammers on my page. It is not even funny. And this is the thing. If you're on here and you're from another country, and I am trying really hard not to judge because I know there's a lot of good people from other countries. And unfortunately, in the US, it's like there's judgment behind people from other countries because we automatically assume that they're scammers or stuff like that. So if you are on here and you're from another country and you're not a scammer, I'm glad you're here. I really am. What happened was and I've said this before, but several of my videos have gone viral, and they went viral because in other countries, they've never seen a mini cow. So they're like, what is this? They're brushing a bull? Are you kidding? They're like, they can't believe it because that doesn't necessarily happen in their country. And so they started following. So there's a lot of people on my page from other countries that are very nice. So when you see someone that has not an American name, don't automatically judge them and think that they're a scammer. Okay? I want you to know that, first of all, because there's a lot of good people from other countries that are not like that. And unfortunately, me and you here, we automatically assume they're a scammer when we see a name that we don't recognize as a US name. So let's not judge. Okay. All right. So I went live. I want to tell you this story, and it's going to lead into something. So bear with me. My grandmother was a big role model in my life. My grandmother was a woman of God. She always pointed me in the right direction. And but my grandmother was very strict growing up. Like I've said this before, though. So if you're joining me for the first time, you probably never heard this, but like when I was young, I don't know why it was a big deal for us to get a piece of gum. It was like a treat. I don't know. So my brothers and I would come in from playing and we stayed at my grandmother's, like during the summer and stuff like that. And my grandmother, had the garden, had the chickens and stuff like that. So we would come in from playing and we would say, I would say, please, can I have a piece of gum? My brother and I. And she would say, nope, you didn't ask right. You go play for 30 minutes. And when you can ask right, I'll give you a piece of gum. And even though we said, please, can I have a piece of gum? The correct was, please, may I have a piece of gum? Like she was so strict. We were to say our prayers before we go to sleep. We were, Sundays, we weren't allowed to swim because she had a pond and we used to swim in the pond. We weren't allowed to swim because you don't work on Sundays. That's the day of God. Like it was very strict growing up. Okay. So my mother passed away. I don't know how old my grandmother was, but my mom was 62 when she passed away. And so my grandmother, the only person that was left was my uncle and his wife. And so when my grandmother got of age, my uncle and aunt moved in with my grandmother to take care of her. And I don't know if you've ever like done that. It is difficult to live with someone. Okay. I don't care if you're a relative, you love them with all your heart. It is difficult because you're totally different. So what would happen was like for example, it was my grandmother's house, right? Well, in the mornings, this is just an example, but she would, okay, my grandmother could not sing. Okay. She could not carry a tune. I take after her. Okay, I can't carry a tune. But like she would just start busting out Jesus songs, Christian songs in the morning, and my aunt and uncle would be in the living room trying to watch TV, and she would bust out amazing, like just loud. And my aunt and uncle were like, "Oh my gosh, would you stop singing?" So it got to be where, it was really hard on my grandmother and it was really hard on my aunt and uncle. So Miss Caregiver Judy stepped up to the plate and I said, to give y'all a break and give my grandmother a break, I will keep my grandmother 2 weeks out of the month. Okay. Now, this is when Vanson and I, my youngest son, lived in an apartment. So Vanson and I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I took my grandmother in 2 days a week. 2 weeks a month. Okay, so I tell you she's religious and she's on routine. So she would be like, "Okay, Judy, it's time for the morning Bible study," and I'm like, it's not that I didn't want to read the Bible, but I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I was trying to, because she was old and I was trying to please her or whatever. And I go over there and I'm like, okay, we're going to do our morning Bible study. And she would go to pray. And y'all, we'd be there for 30 minutes with her praying. She would pray for the people in other countries to have clean water. Like we went into like detail, and I'd be over there going, "Oh Jesus, please let this prayer be over with, dear Jesus. Oh my God, we have been praying for an hour and a half." It was like one of those things, where you're like, "Amen, amen." Quit praying, amen. But she would pray for missionaries, and she had this little book with all the missionaries' names, and she would pull out the missionary book, and we would pray for missionary. Like it was, and so it was just difficult. Okay, so anyway, and I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment. I have a king size bed in my bedroom, and my son has his own bedroom. My grandmother had to sleep with me. So 2 weeks out of the month, I had this grandmother in the bed with me that got up every 2 minutes to use the bathroom. Okay, and she was 99 years old. Okay, so like the thought of, oh my gosh, if she dies in this bed, I'm going to literally have a heart attack, right? Like, am I going to roll over and she's going to be dead? Like all those like fears would hit me. So anyway, one night she had gone to bed early. All right. She had gone to bed early. And I don't know. I snuck in there to wash my face to go to bed. I don't know. It's, let's say, 9 o'clock at night because I'm a mean mom, go to bed early too. And she said, "Judy, come here. I want to talk to you." And I said, "Okay, what's she up for? What's she up for? Oh my God, are we fixing to pray?" So she calls me in there and she said, "Listen to me." And I said, "What?" And she said, "I don't want you to brag on me when I'm dead." And I'm like, is she having a bad dream? Like, what the heck? And I said, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "I don't want you to stand up at my funeral and brag on me." I said, "Okay." Like, why are you saying this? Like, are you having a bad dream? Like, she said, no. She said, and I worry about you being okay when I'm gone. Because my grandmother was my rock, okay? Even though she drove me crazy, I, my grandmother was there for me. Like, my mom and dad were not here anymore. So, like, she was there for me. I confided in her. I told her everything. I told her the good, the bad, and the ugly because I knew she would pray for me. And I needed prayer. So I would tell her, my husband is doing this. I need you to pray for me. My kids are doing this. I need you, she was my everything. Okay. Even though she drove me crazy. All right. So she's telling me not to brag on her at her funeral. And I'm thinking, she has done lost her ever living mind. And I said, Meemaw, I called her Meemaw. And I said, Meemaw, why are you saying this? And she said, because you think that I'm so good. And I do. Like, I think my grandmother is Mother Mary. Like, she's the closest thing to God there is. Okay. Like I remember one time I was having depression really, really bad. And she said, Judy, no, I said to her, I said, what do you do when you're depressed? And she looked at me and she goes, I've never been depressed. I went, what? Are you kidding me? She's like, no, I trust God. And I'm like, how do you do that? Like you're never depressed. And she's like, no. And I'm telling you, when my grandfather died, she is a saint. She believes, like, her faith was so strong that she believes, like, he's in heaven, she's at peace. Like, she's a rock. So when I asked her why she was saying don't brag at her funeral, I couldn't understand. I really couldn't understand. Well, as time went on and her living with me, y'all, she got mean as a snake. She was mean as a snake. And one situation happened, and my grandmother dropped her medicine in my bathroom. And she tried to hide that she dropped the medicine in my bathroom. Okay. And I go in in the middle of her trying to put the pills back. She's 99. She has no idea where the pills go. Right. And I'm like, what are you doing? Nothing. No. I'm like, did you drop your medicine? No. Okay. My grandmother's lying. And I'm like, what in the heck? My grandmother is lying. So anyway, I'm watching her put her pills back in her container. I have no idea what pills go where. So she looked at me and she said, don't you call Cheryl. Cheryl is my aunt that lives with my grandmother. And I'm thinking, why does she not want me to go? Like, I don't know where this medicine goes. So she said, do you hear me, Judy? Do not call Cheryl and ask her where these pills go. I know where they go. Well, she leaves the bathroom and I'm looking in the container and there's like the same color peel. Like, there's 3 pills in one on Monday. And I'm thinking, this is a disaster. So I have got to call my aunt to find out where these pills go, because my grandmother's going to be overdosing because she has no idea where the pills go. So I called my aunt and she didn't answer. So my grandmother and I were out. I'll tell you exactly where we were at. We were at Chick-fil-A in Alabaster, and my aunt called back and she goes, hey, what's going on? Well, my grandmother can't hear well. Okay. So I'm kind of whispering and I'm like, hey, Meemaw has dropped her pills in the bathroom. And my grandmother is beside me, but she can't hear. And I said, so I don't know where these pills goes. And my grandmother screamed, shut up. And I was like, my grandmother just said, shut up. And I was like, I said, Meemaw. And I'm like trying to talk to her. And I'm like, I'm getting to a point. But I was like, Meemaw, I was like, listen, you just said shut up. Like I would got spankings for saying shut up. Like, you are, why are you screaming shut up? I don't want Cheryl to know that I dropped my medicine. I'm like, why? It was an accident. Like, it's okay. But my grandmother, as she got older, she was mean. And so anyway, so my grandmother passed away. All right. I don't remember what year. I think it was 2012. My grandmother passed away. And I spoke at the funeral. And when she passed away, the first thing that I thought of is her taking me or sitting me down, telling me not to brag at her funeral. And I'm like, what the crap am I supposed to say? Like, what am I supposed to say? Okay, well, Meemaw was a piece of crap. She was mean as a snake. Like, what am I supposed to say at her funeral? Because she told me not to brag on her. And I was sitting there and I was praying about, what am I supposed to say? What would she want me to say? And I was sitting there thinking about all that had happened in her life, like how she was Mother Mary, and then she became Satan at the end of her life. And I thought, so this is what I said at her funeral. And I'm leading to a point, so bear with me. So I said at her funeral, I said, my grandmother was what I call perfect. She didn't say bad words. She didn't smoke cigarettes. Like she went to church every time the doors were open. We prayed for hours, multiple times a day. Like, I know she's in heaven. She was the closest thing to God on this earth. Okay. But what I realized as she got older and started becoming mean, I realized, I hope I don't start crying over this, but I realized that perfect person that I saw in her was not my grandmother, because my grandmother is sinful. My grandmother does make mistakes, because I saw it at the end of her life. The person that I saw that was perfect was God in my grandmother. And I realized that after she had passed away, and what she was telling me when she told me not to brag on her at her funeral was because she didn't want me to brag on her, because there was nothing to brag about, because what I saw in her was God, because God kept her not depressed. The stable person that I saw was God in her, and not this perfect human being. Because my grandmother, what I realized later in life is she wasn't perfect. This person that I saw my entire life was Christ in my grandmother. So this is what I want to tell you. As I'm sitting here today, I'm starting to get, as my page grows, let me tell you about this weekend. So this weekend, I met one of my followers. And she began to hug my neck and tell me that I saved her daughter's life. And I was like, how did I save her life? Like, what did I do? And she's like, Judy, when you go live in the mornings and you tell your story, you have no idea how many people you're saving. And I was like, really? And then I told you guys when I went live the other day, but if you weren't joining me, I'll tell you. So this weekend, I got another message from this girl, and she said, I don't know why I'm emailing you. I don't know who you are, but a lady, it was a church, came and witnessed to the homeless, their own drugs. And she told me, she wrote down your email address, and she gave me your email address and told me that I should contact you for help. And I don't know who you are, and I don't know why I'm emailing you. Well, y'all know that addiction is sensitive to me, right? So my heart just went, what? And I said, who is this person that told you to call me, to message me? And she's like, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I was high as ever when the church came around to us homeless people. So immediately, I was like, am I saving people's lives? Really? And I have got, over the past month, I've gotten multiple emails from people all over saying that I'm saving them. And I sat here and I was like, it's almost like I got boastful. I was like, wow, I'm saving people all over the world. Are you kidding me? Protein. You got your protein, right? I was like, just by me telling my story, I'm touching people's lives. Are you serious? And I felt kind of boastful because I was like, this lady, this addict lives in Pennsylvania, and she got my email address. So what did I do when she messaged me? Okay, I immediately called my sponsor. My sponsor, I told you guys that I went through Al-Anon. I went through the 12-step program, not because of that I'm an addict myself, but because I was caught up in addiction in my family. Okay, I was caught up trying to fix them, and I was just caught up in it. I was depressed all the time because I couldn't fix my family members, right? So I immediately called my sponsor and I said, oh my gosh, this person messaged me and they want me to help them. And oh my gosh, what do I do? What do I say to her? And she said, stop, Judy. You are not God. You are not God. And I took a couple of steps back and I was like, why is she saying that I'm not God? Does she think I think I'm God? And for a minute there, it's like I did think I was God. I did think that I could help this girl get off drugs. I was like, wow, someone went to Pennsylvania. Oh my gosh, my followers are giving my phone number and I'm going to help this person. And I got caught in the moment. Okay. When that lady told me that I saved her daughter, I got caught in the moment and I was like, I saved someone's life. And it was almost as if I go to my Facebook page and I'm like, wow, let me look. Wow, Judy, you have 25,787 people following you. Oh my gosh, let's go to YouTube. Judy, you have 15,880 people following you. Good job, Judy. You're saving lives. Like, I got caught up in that moment. And I got a big head. And I thought, I can remember, and I was going back to where, I talk about me and Diane and Tammy being on live for like a year, and it was just basically us. And now I have over 100 people sitting here watching me right now. And it in the moment that they told me all that, it was giving me a big head, like, wow, I have 100 people following me in the morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. Good job, Judy. You're going. And then when my sponsor said, Judy, you're not God, I went from being up here to being down here. And it brought me back to my grandmother. And it was almost as if I said, I don't want anybody to brag. These people are bragging on me, and I'm getting caught up in the credit of it. I'm getting caught up in, Judy, you're doing such a good job. When y'all, it's not what you're seeing. You're seeing me because you see my physical body, right? But what you're seeing is Christ in me. Okay. I'm not perfect. I can't fix people with addiction. I can't save your daughter. I can't do any of that. And you guys are giving me the credit for it, but it's not me. What you see in the screen right now is me because I'm the physical body. But what you're seeing, the strength that you see in me is not me. And it brought me back to my grandmother and my grandmother saying, if I die, do not brag on me. And I understand why my grandmother said that now, simply because I'm in a situation where people think, and I'm not saying that I'm not a good person, or I'm not saying that I am the person that's speaking to you, right? So I do have strengths, but the strengths that you see is not me. I want to explain to you. Like, I had my brother go live because I want to paint a picture of you of what Judy is like. Okay? I have said it over and over, but I don't think you quite get it. Okay? I am a depressed person. I actually I got to the point where I could not work. That's how severe my depression was. Okay? I had to quit working in the field because my depression and my anxiety was so bad that it overcame me working in the job force. Okay. I had tried to commit suicide. I have been in rehab 4 or 5 times. There was a time in my life where I could not get out of the bed. I have had 3 failed marriages. I have been married 4 times. Okay? That is me. What you see on this screen is God in me, because my life has totally changed since I got this farm. It is totally changed. Me telling my story is the strength that I have to get up here in front of you and go, I tried to kill myself. That's embarrassing. That is straight up embarrassing to me, to my family, to Shane, to go, quit saying that. But see, if I don't say that, the people behind this screen that feel the same way, they don't like, they feel all alone. They feel like, what's wrong with me? But when you see Judy and who I am today, I hope that it gives you hope to know that you're not alone. No, I do not have suicide thoughts at all anymore. I don't, I'm not really a depressed person anymore. But y'all, from the time I was 17 years old until about 5 years ago, so from 17 to say 45, 46 years old, I stayed depressed. I cried all the time. I would go through being like manic and being high and being on top of the world, making people laugh, to being able to not get out of the bed. That was who I am. So when my grandmother said, don't brag on me, and I was hearing, as I get all these emails and people telling me in person that I'm saving people's lives, I'm like, y'all, it ain't me. I mean, yes, I am the messenger. Like, I am the person that's actually speaking. But the strength in me to be able to sit here at 7 o'clock in the morning, I have never in my entire life been a morning person. Okay. Ever in my life. Every morning I got up to go to work, I hated my life. I can remember like driving down the road, like nodding off because I was like, couldn't function because I couldn't stay awake. You know, a lot of people that have depression, they cannot stay awake. They're like, I can't, because what happens is when you are awake, your mind is spinning out of control and you're so flipping tired that you can't function. And you're like, I'm sorry, but I'm tired. And they're like, your family's like, all she does, she's lazy. All she does is stay in the bed. She goes to bed at 6 o'clock. She gets up at 11 o'clock. She can't, like, she's terrible. And you as a depressed person, I'm like, I'm just tired. I don't feel good. I just don't, I can't stay awake. I don't know what's wrong with me. And so then they go to the doctor looking for physical elements why they can't stay awake. And they're like, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You need to go to the mental doctor. This is all mental. And as a person, you're like, how can mental make you stay in like something's wrong. I can't stay awake. There's something physically wrong with me. And for us as human beings, and you see your daughter or your son or your spouse staying in the bed all the time, you think there's something physically wrong with them or they're lazy. No, it's mental. Now, I'm not saying there can't be something physically wrong with them, like narcolepsy or something like that. But what I'm trying to tell you is your mental state can be so out of control that it causes you to stay in the bed all the time. Been there, done that, had the medal. Okay. And I was convinced there was something physically wrong with me that made me be like that. But today, I can get up at 5:30 every single morning and get on a live video at 7 o'clock in the morning and talk to you guys. Okay? The strength that Judy has couldn't do that. I've never been able to do that. Never. Ever. And like when I was in the workforce, I was in sales. And sales is the worst position for someone that has depression and manic episodes and all this stuff. It's the worst, because what would happen is I would be on top of the world for a month and I was a rock star. I would win every single award. I would sell like and people would be like, God, Judy's killing it this month. And then all of a sudden I would go, and I would crash. And when I would crash, it would happen for months. So then Judy Rockstar that everybody loved, killing it, selling everything would be down here. And then I'd be written up because I wasn't selling. They were like, Judy, you've got to get out. You've got to do appointments. And I couldn't do it. I physically couldn't do it. And then my depression would hit me so bad that I would go to my counselor and go, please, dear God, put me on medical leave. I'm about to get fired. I'm about to get fired. And she would go, okay, let's go on medical leave. And I would go on medical leave for a couple of weeks to get myself together because I couldn't get out of the bed. I couldn't function. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And I would just cry and I'm about to lose my job. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to be homeless, which is my biggest fear, right? I tell you that. And all that would just like go like this. And I couldn't stop it. So I understand what you're saying when you say, Judy, you're saving people's lives. I understand what you're saying, but see, you're missing the whole point. You're missing your blessing. You're missing it because I'm no different from you. I'm no different from your daughter. I'm no different from the person that can't get out of the bed. I'm not any different. I tell you this all the time. I tell you my struggles because I'm just like you. The difference in me today versus before is I've learned how to pull my strength from God. And I'm not trying to throw my religion on you. I'm telling you what works for me. I'm telling you what's changed my life. And what happened is people are so quick to say, it's God that changed my life. If you would just have a relationship with him, your life could change too. That is a foreign language to someone that doesn't understand. When you, because this is what happens. This is what happens because I did this over and over and over and over and over again. People would like, Judy, you need God in your life. You need God. And then I would go away. Dear Heavenly Father, just take this burden away from me. God, just heal me in the name of Jesus. And then I'd wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, I'm not healed. And I'd go back to depression. And I didn't understand what it meant to have a relationship with God. Because like I thought, go to the altar, ask God to come into your heart, and bam, I am going to be healed in the name of Jesus. It didn't work that way. You know how if, say that you're single and you meet someone for the first time, okay? And you really like this person. So how does the relationship work? You talk on the phone every day. You see them in person. You tell stories about when I was young, I did this because you're building a relationship with them. You're telling them your gory details. You're smiling. You're on your best behavior. You're building a relationship with this person that you really, really like, right? It's no different with God. If you don't talk to him every single day and you don't look at his beauty, like this guy that you're building a relationship with, you're like, oh my God, he is so fine. Oh my God. You know how you do, oh my God, he is okay. So if you don't look and go, look outside the box, right? So when you're dating someone, you don't notice their flaws per se. Their flaws are like camouflage because all you can see is their beauty and they talk so sexy. Like everything. Oh my gosh, he opens the door for me. Oh my gosh, he pumped my gas. Oh my gosh, no one has ever done that to me before. You know what I'm talking about? That good gaga. Okay, a building relationship. Okay, when you build a relationship with God, now this is how it worked for me, okay, is instead of walking outside and taking everything for granted, okay, like you walk outside and you're like, God, it feels good outside, okay, or whatever, like noticing, like, how I teach kids that come to my farm to get in the moment. Okay, you have to get in the moment. Learning how to get in the moment it took me forever. I can remember I went through this program called DBT. Okay, I went through that program year and a half. Every single Wednesday, I went to this program to learn how to get to mindfulness, to learn why is Judy the way she is. I went every single Wednesday for 2 hours. Okay. And I can remember when I would step into the room and it was not just me in the room. She would have this candle and she would light the candle and said, I want you to blank your mind. I could not do it. My mind was spinning out of control. Like just, I couldn't stop my brain. And I'm like, she would go, were you able to stop your brain and just be blank? I'm like, no. And this would go on every single Wednesday when I would go in there. She was like, okay, we're going to mindfulness. And I'd be like, it does not work. Why am I here? This is so stupid. Like, it's not working. I cannot slow my mind down. But I finally learned how to do it when I did this. I would go out to my property and I would walk around and film 1 minute of something soothing. So, for example, I would go into my chicken coop and just film my chickens going, like that soothing sound for 1 minute. Or I would film a crackling fire for 1 minute. Or I would go down to my creek and film the water flowing for 1 minute. So then when I needed to slow my mind down and get in the moment and get quiet with God, I would literally pull out my phone to that 1 minute and I would sit there and watch the crackling fire for 1 minute. And I'm like, what do you see? Like, when you're trying to get to mindfulness, they say use your senses, right? So what do you see? What are you hearing? So when you're concentrating on, I'm outside, I see the beautiful skies. I see that house in front of me and it's white. I see that sunflower and gosh, that's pretty. And then you go, what do you hear? Okay, well, I hear a dog barking in the background. Like using your senses, that gets you to mindfulness. So what I would do is I would go outside and do that. And I would begin to notice that, wonder how the sunflower got here. Like I would get really deep and go, I wonder how this creek got here. Was this man-made or was it just here? And I would begin to notice the beauty in what was around me. And I would notice that there's no way in Hades that a sunflower can be man-made. And I would begin to notice that it was God that brought that sunflower here, because how else would the sunflower get here? And isn't it cool how you can get a sunflower seed, put it in the ground, put some water on it, put some sunshine on it, and it grows to be this beautiful flower. So I would begin to notice the beauty in what God was providing around me. So that was that was the beginning of the relationship. Just like I talk about, you notice, ooh, did you see his tail end? Oh my gosh, he does this. So it's the same thing with your relationship with God. You begin to notice the beauty around you that God created. So that was part of the relationship. And then, just like you talk to this guy or this girl every single day because you're in love and you're trying to build a relationship, you talk on the phone or see him in person every single day. I did the same thing with God. Okay. In the beginning, it's not all like, it's not like, it's almost like sometimes I had to force myself. Okay. I had to go, okay. I was always intimidated, like when I would go to church, because I didn't know the stories in the Bible, because I wasn't brought up in church. So like when I would go to Sunday school and they would ask me to read, I'd be like, oh, I can't pronounce these words. I have no idea who this is. Oh my God. And I would feel intimidated, and I didn't want to go to church because I felt intimidated, because they would say, remember in the Bible where da-da-da-da, and you were like, no, I have no idea. You want to go back to that story? So yeah, I felt intimidated because I didn't know. The only time I ever went to church is when I would go to my grandmother's house or Bible school with my grandmother. My mom didn't take me to church. So as I built the relationship with God, I would begin to talk to him, notice his beauty, just like you do in her, and it began to grow. And then it would be like when my sponsor said, Judy, you're not God. See, I can't convict, right? Like I can't say, oh, well, you drink beer every night. Well, guess what? You may not realize it, but you're a straight up alcoholic. Okay. Okay. That's the human nature. But see, if I said that out loud, I'm not convicting them. I'm pissing them off. I'm not convicting anyone, because I'm not God. Conviction happens with God, not Judy. Judy is, if a human person, I noticed that you're a little overweight, you might want to lose a little bit. We've got diabetes in our family, and you might want to consider losing weight. I'm always saying this to help you because I don't want you to have diabetes. So like you really need to concentrate on eating right because what am I doing? I'm trying to convict them because I'm trying to say I'm doing this for your own good. You need to stop drinking so much beer at night or you need to lose weight because your health is going to be at risk. You know? You are totally ticking that person off. Is as a human being, you say stuff like that to people. You're trying to convict, but you're not. You're playing the role of God, and you're not God. That gay activity. Do you know what the Bible says about homosexuality? You're going to hell. You're straight up going to hell if you have sexual desires for another human being that's of the same sex. You're going to hell. What have you done to that community? You have totally pissed that community off. Okay, and they're going to be waving gay pride flags because they're trying to stand up for what they believe, right? You're not God. You can't convict someone. Conviction comes from God. Now you can sit in the private and pray for them. You can say, God, I pray that you turn this community around. You know, I know what your word says, but if you say it out loud, you're convicting. You are convicting. And when she told me, Judy, you're not God. When my grandmother said, don't brag on me at my funeral, what they're trying to say is conviction comes from God. This person that reached out to me that said, hey, I need help. I was given your email address and they told me you can help me. Immediately, I was like, I'll help her. And this is what happened. Okay. Because I'm going to finish this story with her. What happened was my human nature kicked in. And I was like, oh my gosh, people are going around to other states and giving them my email address and telling them that I can, my page is growing like crazy. Yes, I can help you. Yes, I can. See, I've dealt with that in my family. Sure, I've changed my life. I can help you. So then this is what happened. I give this person my phone number because what am I going to do? That was the pigs, I think. Did y'all hear that noise? So I began to say, here's my phone number. Message me. I'll point you in the right direction. So then we start text messaging. And she begins to tell me that she lives in Pennsylvania. And she lives in a tent with 20 other people. Okay, I'm a mother, right? Any mother that hears that, we immediately go, I've got to help her. She lives in a tent with 20 other people. So what did Judy do? I start getting on the phone because I'm going to help her. And I start calling rehab centers. And I'm like, what is your mom's phone number? Let me talk to you. She's like, my mother doesn't talk to me. I'm in the shape I'm in because of my mother. And I wanted to say, no, you make your own choices. Your mom didn't make these choices. Maybe your mom wasn't the best example, but you are in the shape you're in because you chose this life. But see, if I would have said that, what would have happened? She would have, you're just like my mother. Okay, because I would have been trying to convict her. So she began to tell me all this stuff. And y'all, I started looking up rehab centers because I asked her if she had insurance and she told me she was on disability. And I was like, surely you have Medicaid or Medicare. I began to call rehab centers. I'm like, hey, can we get this girl to Pennsylvania? She's in Pennsylvania. Where's your rehab center? Can we get her here? Okay, maybe I could do a fundraiser. I can raise money and get her a flight to this rehab center that's willing to take her. I am kicked in high gear, right? I am like over the top. And she begins to tell me, she's like, if I'm getting on your nerves, I won't message you no more. And I'm like, no, baby, it's okay. I want to be your friend. I don't know how to fix you, but I can try to provide you the resources that can. Just, just, I'm here for you. Like, I love you and I'm here for you because I was going to battle. I was going to help this girl get help. I was caught up in it, which is what led me to Al-Anon. Because what happens in addiction is you get caught up in it because you're going to fix them, right? You're going to fix them. And I was caught up in it. And to make a long story short, this is the saddest. This is so sad. But I think it was a scammer. And parts of me go, I called my sponsor and I was like, I got so caught up into helping this person that I was playing the role of God because I was going to fix her and I was going to find her a rehab and I was going to help her because her mom wasn't there for her and I was going to help her. But see, this is what happens when you start getting, your page starts growing and people start telling you that you're saving people's lives. You get a big head and you think that you physically can save people's lives. But see, y'all, I can't. And what happened was, as my page grows, people message me, y'all. People say, my mother has cancer. My mother has cancer. Will you please help me financially? You get all these messages, okay? I'm getting messages like this and I start believing them, right? And I go and I called my sponsor in tears and I was like, oh my God, I went to battle for this girl and I was going to go get her rehab and like I was doing all this stuff. I was going to do a fundraiser to get her a plane ticket to go to rehab, like all this stuff, okay? All this stuff. I was just spinning out of control because I thought I could help her because I started getting this big head when people start telling me, you're saving my child's life. You're, oh my gosh, you've changed my life. I listened to you, blah, blah, blah. I was getting this big head and I thought I could do it. But see, I had to stop myself because I got convicted and I had to take a step back and go, okay, what the heck? What the heck? I would have given this lady my last $10 to get her to rehab. But see, this world is sinful. And the good thing about me having a relationship with God was it was almost as if, and if you don't understand this, it's because you haven't built that relationship with Him. But it was almost as if the Holy Spirit came upon me and said, Judy, slow down. Because I was getting caught up in it. I was getting caught up in it. It hurt me because it triggered me. Because I can't fix my family members. Right? I can't. But I started thinking, well, maybe I can fix someone else. Maybe I can help someone else's child. And I can't because I'm not God. I can't fix it. All I can do is pray, right? All I can do is just pray. That's all I can do. And when sometimes we get caught up in this and we play the role of God. And my sponsor, I called her in tears. And I said, where did I go wrong? Let me learn from this. Where did I go wrong? And she said, you did play the role of God and you're not God. And Judy, you're at step 1. You can't cure this. You can't. No matter how many times I go live in the mornings at 7 o'clock in the morning and tell my story, I can't fix anything. I can tell you my story, but God has to convict that person. So like, it's just my sponsor said, Judy, you would give your shoes to anyone. I said, yeah, I would. I would literally eat ramen noodles to get that lady to rehab that I don't even know, that I've never laid eyes on. I would give her the last $10 I had. She said, Judy, you would give your shoes to anyone, but you also need shoes yourself. And I was like, okay, let me think about this for just a minute. I need shoes myself. And I was like, I do need shoes myself, because without me having shoes, I can't walk places, right? Like I can't. And it made me, what am I doing? I've got tears all in my eyes. It made me take a step back, and it made me think about things, because sometimes, you might play the role of God. And sometimes you will go to the ends of earth to try to fix someone and be there for them. But at the end of the day, you have to fix you. They have to fix them, right? And I hope that what I say today, I hope that you'll remember what my grandmother said. I mean, it is sad that I got played or whatever. It is. It's awful because, I got caught up in it. But see, loved ones that I know play me too. Just like if you have someone in addiction, they play you, because what happened? I need help. I need help. Oh my gosh. Take me. I got to stop this. I got to stop. And then you drop everything you're doing and you take them to the ER and you pay for them to get in rehab. And you're like, oh, it's fixing to be over. Oh my gosh, this is fixing to be over. I'm so happy. They've hit rock bottom. And then they get out of rehab and you're like, I just spent all this money. I just spent countless hours like helping them. And I just walked in their house and it smells like freaking marijuana. And we've been out of rehab for less than 24 hours. Are you kidding me? And then you go, and you're like, this sucks. I can't, no matter what I do, I cannot fix them, and you can't either. So, hang on. I hope that you'll think about what my grandmother said and think about, about yourself, and about, like my grandmother saying that don't brag at me at my funeral. Like, what are people going to say at yours? You know what I mean? Like, what are people going to say at your funeral? And I was able to stand before her entire funeral and say, my grandmother was a train wreck. She freaking was mean as a snake. Oh my gosh, she screamed at me to shut up. And all this Sunday school teacher was like, that she's been a Sunday school teacher her whole life. She was just like me. And my whole entire life, I thought she was a saint. She was mean as a snake. I was able to say that. I was like, you don't want me to brag on you? Well, by golly, I'm not, because you are no better than me. But this whole time through life, I always looked up to her, because I knew she was a safe place to land. I felt safe with my grandmother because I knew she had a great relationship with God, and I knew that she would never lead me in the wrong direction. But again, as time went on, I realized that she was just like me. She wasn't no saint. She's mean as a snake, you know? And so this whole time that I saw my grandmother through life, it was Christ in her. It was. So when I tell you to dance and you are like, Judy, I'm just not feeling it today. I'm not. There's days that you don't feel like dancing. There's days that you have to lay in the bed in your pajamas, and that's okay. You know, but I encourage you today, and I guess I am throwing my religion on you, but I know not everyone serves the same God. So instead of saying God, I'm going to say higher power. Okay. Whoever you serve, whoever it is, for me, it's God. Okay. So that's what I speak of. I speak of God. But I can tell you when I built a relationship with Him and took the time to build a relationship with Him, and I talked to Him every day, and I read His word. And even though I can remember reading His word and going, I don't know what I just read. Like, ain't nothing making sense. But I never stopped. I never stopped. I read the Bible all the way through, even the days I was like, I have no idea what I just read. This was a big brain fog. I kept going. I was like, surely something will sink into this brain. I'm going to keep doing it. And I stayed disciplined. I read His word every day. I prayed. I talked to Him. And I didn't just pray, but I would walk around my property and go, God, you are absolutely amazing. This sunflower is so cool. I can't wait to get to heaven and go, how in the crap did you make a flower come out of this little bitty seed? And it's this big, beautiful flower. Like, I began to talk to Him throughout the day. And I began to see, like, I look at my farm and I'm like, knowing dang good and well, I did not create this. Never in 100,000 years did I ever say I wanted to live in the country and have a farm. And that's why my farm is excelling, is because not because Judy's this great person and Judy goes live every morning and Judy's saving lives. No, 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 no. You are missing your blessing. Your blessing that you're hearing today, if this is what you needed to hear, it's not from me per se. It's God's put you in front of me to hear what He needs you to hear. It's not that I'm this great person and I've got the strength of, Job, and I'm just, I'm just great and wonderful. No, I'm just like Myrtleene Mize, my grandmother. I mean, as a snake. Ask Shane. I ain't no different from you. Okay? The difference in me is if you do not have a personal relationship with Him, and you don't, if what I'm saying is a foreign language to you, start by walking outside and looking at everything around, the green grass, the blue skies, the clouds. And if you don't believe in God, then I wonder where they come from. Like, see here, look at these clouds. They look like cotton balls. How did this happen? Like, you know what I mean? Like looking at your kids and going, oh my gosh, that came out of me. How in the world? Like notice God's creation. That's where you can start, because I'm going to tell you something. When you go outside and you get in the moment and you notice the beauty around, it is amazing. But we take it all for granted because we see it every day. But it is amazing when you notice. I hope that you gained something from this. I hope that you learned that you can't convict. You're not God, and neither am I. I can't save anybody. I didn't die on the cross. I can't save anybody. No way. right? I can't. I'm no different from you. So, um, and I know people go, Judy, it is you. It is you. Let me just tell you, um, yes, God has used me to get in front of you. God has used my farm, but he's using you too. It's not like he's just using me. He's using you. You have a testimony. You've been through a lot. You have a testimony. And, whether you choose to talk about it or you choose to keep it silent is, your choice. But all of us have a story. All of us have been through a lot. All of our families are in addiction. All of our families have been through adultery. All of our families have been a train wreck, right? If I sit here and talk to every single one of you, you would all have a story to tell me. Every one of us. And I guess the difference in me versus you is maybe I'm more verbal than you, and I've been very brave to get in front of you, but I feel like God is using me to spread his goodness. That's what I believe. And I'm thankful that he has given me the opportunity to be able to speak to all these people that follow me. I've said this before, but when I became a nonprofit, my goal was to give back what God had blessed me with. And I thought that meant through tours and stuff like that. Me going into schools, like I thought that's what his plan was. That's what I thought. And what's happening is he's putting me in front of people that will never visit my farm. He's putting me in other countries. He's putting me all over the place. I mean, my page is growing like crazy, and he's putting me in front of all these people that I probably never meet. I'll probably never meet, and it's cool to be a part of it because it's cool to be a part of it because it, like, you think it's all me, but see, you bless me because you do tell me your stories. A lot of you do tell me your stories, and I try my best to respond to most anybody, but I'm gonna tell you, it's getting difficult because I have a big heart just like you. And if somebody sent you a text message like I got, you would probably do the same thing that I did because we believe everyone, because our hearts are pure. And we don't, I mean, if somebody's telling you they need help and they're in a tent, you're going to run just like me. We're going to run after them because that's our heart. That's our desire. But see, what happens is I have to be careful from now on. And when people send me messages, I have no idea who you are. And I have no idea if you're a scammer. I have no idea if you're real. I have no idea if you're that stupid guy that was haunting me, pretending like you're someone else. I have no idea. So from this point on, I have to be careful. And I know that you understand that because there's a lot of bad in this world too. Okay, what time is it? Oh, Lord, it's 8:15. I went over. Imagine that. I love you guys. And I hope today taught you a lesson. I hope that you gained the strength that you have inside you. Don't expect people to brag upon it at your funeral. Be like Meemaw. Be like Meemaw and notice the good in you and where it comes from. The bad in you doesn't have to define you. Believe it or not, you can pull your strength and you can change who you are, no matter what age you are, because I did. You have the strength when you pull it from the right place to get through anything that you can get through. I love you guys. And, in life, you have two choices, right? You can sit it out or you can dance. And today is Monday. We probably don't feel like dancing because it's Monday. I have a big day ahead of me. At 3:30 today, my dad finds out his treatment plan. So there's a lot going on and our lives could totally change. And I'm trying to prepare myself for that, about what God has in store for me with Sneed's Farmhouse. And I don't know if I'm going to have to take a break. I don't know what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, I know that I have you guys. You guys are so good to me, and I thank you. And I thank you for being genuine. I thank you for following me, because following me in YouTube, I'm going to say this. YouTube pays me for being live. Facebook does not, just so you know. So if you're wanting to support my farm more and help me feed my animals, you don't have to send me money. I got makeup all over my hands. You don't have to send me money or gift cards or anything like that. To support me, if you go over to my YouTube page and subscribe, you are helping feed my animals and you're helping me continue to give back. Facebook does not do that. Welcome to being a creator. I love you guys. I will see you next time. I will be here Wednesday. I will try to tell you what the results are for my dad. I don't want to embarrass him or anything. But I will go live Wednesday. But I don't know how I'll tell you. I may try to go live Tuesday to tell you the results. I love you guys. I hope you dance. I'll see you Wednesday.